Retirement is supposed to be your golden years, right? But what if your savings didn't quite make the gold standard? Well, in this video, I'll teach you how to navigate retirement even with no money saved. And as a result, you can have a worry-free future. But keep watching because I'm gonna give you the how-to on how to do that. So here are the 5 must-do things you should do right now if you wanna be able to have a retirement even if you have no money right now. So number 1, start tracking your money right now. Just start doing it. Even if it seems painful, even if you're like, there's not much to track, do it anyways. Get in the habit, because when you start these habits now, even when you have less, these habits will carry with you when you have more. And trust me, these habits will make you so much more money. One of the biggest mistakes I made, especially in the last recession, is that I wasn't tracking my money. Money was coming in like air. It was abundant. I had so much money coming in. I didn't care. I was being careless with my money, not just on the spending side, but even on the income side. If someone asked me what I make, I'm like, I don't know. I made a lot, But the problem was this. When all of a sudden, just like for you, if air's taken away, you count every breath. Well, when money's taken away, you count every dollar too, or you should be. And in fact, you should get in the habit of doing this even when money isn't taken away. And so that's what happened to me. Money started going away. I realized I was running out of cash. I started to track my money. And what did I find out? I found out I was in the hole over $15,000 a month. No wonder my savings were being depleted and my balances were running up, because I was negative cash flow between my business and my personal expenses. And so track your money. Like, track the income that's coming in and the expenses going out. Best tool that I recommend often on this channel is using a company called Mint. Mint.com, M-I-N-T, right? Mint.com, and they have an app as well. Free resource you can use, helps you track your money and do it in a way that's so much easier than doing it on paper. Now, I'm all for, if you have a system that works, use it. If you're a spreadsheet nerd, awesome, use those spreadsheets. I'm not that person. I'm not the kind of person to do that. I like easy automation. I like it that this Mint, for example, can go and connect to my bank accounts, download all those transactions, include my income and my expenses going out, and then it helps me categorize it too. So I know where that money's going and for what purpose. The cool thing is that even if the Mint doesn't know what that expense is, it'll go in and say, all right, what is it? And I'll go in and I'll say, oh, it's this. Like maybe it's groceries or maybe it's utilities or whatever it might be. It'll then from that point on say, oh, got it. I'm gonna remember that for next time. So when it sees that same company come up again, it'll say, oh, that's groceries, or oh, that's utilities, and it puts in the category, adding it up for you. So you don't have to be a math ninja or whiz to be able to make this work, okay? So great way to use it, great way to start tracking your money, and it's so important. And here's a guarantee I will give you. This is working with hundreds upon hundreds of clients. If you just start tracking your money, just doing that simple act, you will find at least $300 a month without living on rice and beans, without having to be cheap or cutting back and not living life. What I find every time is that whatever you put your attention towards will expand and grow. If you start paying attention to your money, the inflow and the outflows, don't just pay attention to the expenses, but look at everything, even how much money's coming in, what you'll realize is that naturally you just are wiser with your money. You'll start to spend less in different areas where you would have spent before. I had one client who, she claimed to be too busy to do this, but guess what? We actually started tracking her money. We found $1,800 a month. And it didn't have to sacrifice her lifestyle either. They still ate out occasionally. They still did the things that they wanted to do. But just by tracking their money, they realized, wait a minute, that's not very productive. Let's not spend there anymore. You know what? We could do better with this. They weren't just looking at their account balances. They were looking at the money that was there and how to have surplus each month. And I'll tell you, $1,800 a month, that's over $20,000 a year. I bet you that would make a big difference in your life too. And that would help you start saving right now. And that leads me to my next point. Point number 2 is really prioritize your savings, right? Make that a priority. I don't care if you feel like you're paycheck to paycheck, right? Well, and you may be, right? And that's fine. I've been there. I've been worse than paycheck to paycheck, as you just heard in this video. However, even if it's just a little bit, save a little bit each week or each month. The great thing with technology nowadays is that you can go to your bank's website and you can actually automatically have them draft from an account and put into a savings account. I don't care if you start with $1 or $5 and that's all you do in a month. Do it. Get in the habit of doing it. And what you'll realize, you won't even miss it. You won't even realize it's gone, but the cash will be there. And a great foundation for somebody who wants to be able to save, not just for retirement, but even for financial freedom, is that you need to have that emergency fund savings account. And so start building that account up now. So funneling that money out, $5, I don't care, $5, $20, $100. You can do this monthly or weekly. You can gradually increase it over time. Because what you realize is that it's so easy to do $5, you might bump it up to 20 the next time. And maybe you'll say, man, that was so easy. Why don't I do 50 or 100? And watch what happens. it might feel like you're watching grass grow. And I mean this from a Utah standpoint, which means it takes forever, right? It's like you're watching grass grow, but the truth is you're gonna see this really work in your life. Now, the third point, this is the key one, is ask for a raise and or start a side hustle. Now, the problem with today is that many people, when they try to ask for a raise, they come from a place of entitlement. Hey, I deserve this. I deserve a raise. I've worked hard for you. The truth is, many people, when they work, sometimes they work just hard enough not to get fired. And that's not desirable for a raise. But I'll tell you this has worked time and time again for many of our clients, is when you go in for a raise, don't just say, hey, I want a raise. Instead, go to your manager, your boss, or whoever it might be, and ask them, say, listen, what is it I can do for you or this company that would merit me a raise or that would earn me a raise here? And just listen for the answer. See what they say. I had one client who did this. His name was Brian. He went to his boss and said that very same thing. What is it I can do for this company? How can I create value for you guys in a way that merits me a raise? And the boss said, well, listen, if you do these 3 things, I'll do it for you. I'll give you the raise. So over the next few months, that's what Brian did. He went and did those things, went back to his boss. The boss said, a promise is a promise. You get a raise. What's crazy is Brian didn't just stop there. Brian just kept trying to add value and do awesome at his job. He tried to go above and beyond the call of duty, right? He was trying to go that extra mile. And what did Brian do? The next thing you know, after a few months, his boss walks by his office and then backpedals and says, Brian, how much do I pay you again? And then he tells him. And then he says, I'm giving you a raise, but no more raises. Well, 10 months go by and then a new position opens up in the company. Brian interviews for that position. They say, you know what, you've been an amazing employee. We're gonna give you that position. So they gave it to him. They hired it internally for him to get that position. Another raise. And then almost a year later, what happens is that he goes up on his annual review and the boss says, okay, here's our annual review. You've done a great job. This is the raise I'm gonna give you. But Brian says, no. Brian says, listen, here are the things I've done. And he lists out all the different things that he did that were, again, going the extra mile. He never stopped trying to create value for his company and for his boss. And eventually the boss says, all right, fine. What do you want? And then Brian says, this is what I want. And the boss says, great, you got it, because you're awesome. Here's what's crazy, guys. Brian started at 15 bucks an hour. A year and a half later, he was at $28 an hour. He nearly doubled his income just doing this one thing. This can absolutely work. So if you're working a job, ask for a raise this way. I'll tell you another thing too, starting a side hustle can be another great way to do it, and you can get some tax savings components as well. Not in this video, we won't talk about tax savings, but I'll tell you, it can be a great addition for you. All right, number 4 is pay down debts, right? And especially not the ones that just like with the highest interest rate or the lowest balances. I want you to use the cash flow index. And I'm gonna recommend you go watch this video that we talked about the best way to pay down debt, because man, the cash flow index is awesome. Here's a simple equation if you wanna know it. Is take the balance of that loan, divide it by the minimum monthly payment, and you'll get a number. The lower the number, that's the one you pay off. So for example, say you have a $10,000 credit card with a $200 a month payment, that's a 50. 10,000 divided by 200 is 50. Now let's just say you have a $10,000 loan as well over here that has a payment of $500 a month. Now just naturally, just think about this, right? Just from a common sense standpoint, if you have two $10,000 loans, one's $200 a month, one's $500 a month, which one do you want to get rid of? The $500 a month one, right? Well, wait, what if that has the lowest interest rate? That's my point, guys. You don't have to care about the interest rate, it's the cash flow. You want to get rid of the highest payment with the lowest balance ratio. That's called the cash flow index. All right, and the 5th point, and again, I talk about this in a lot of other videos, but the 5th point is, as you start to build up the savings, then invest in real assets that provide cash flow. Real assets, what are those? Those are things like real estate, right? I'm not talking about throwing in stocks or crypto. Those are not real assets. Those are arbitrary. Those can go up and down at all times, right? Those things can go up and down just depending on how people feel in the moment or how the AI and all the technology feels in that moment when they're doing their trades. You don't want that, guys. You want real assets. Those things can grow. I'll tell you, I've seen so many people that have accidentally become millionaires just because they bought things like real estate, right? So that's what I mean by real assets that provide cash flow. This could also be a business. I mentioned side hustle before, but if you have a business, investing in that to provide more cash flow, more profit so you can put away more money, that's key. Side note, here's a key thing for you is if you have a business, do not reinvest every dime you have back in the business. What that means is you're just spending money. We don't want that. What we want is you to be able to take some of those profits and put that away to invest in other cash flowing assets. So you diversify the cash flow and the passive income that's coming into you. You want multiple streams of income. And the best way to do that is taking your money and investing in real assets that are cash flow producing. That's how you do that. All right, guys, those are my 5 tips for you. Is remember, start tracking your money now, prioritize your savings, even if it's $5 a week or a month, ask for a raise and or start a side hustle, pay down your debts to have that best cash flow index, that lower cash flow index, and then invest in real assets to provide real cash flow. If you think this is good, check out my next video, how often do high yield savings accounts pay you interest?